Who's ready to day text? Thank you for joining me this Wednesday, July 10th, for our morning day text. As those of you who've joined me previously know, we meet pretty much every weekday morning around 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, give or take a half an hour. It can be between 6:30 and 7:30, just depending on the lighting and different things that happen in the morning. But if the notice is up, then we're going to have the show. And so we'll get to the text in just a moment. We also do a Saturday morning day text show most of the time. So if you want to join us as we work our way progressively through the various biblical books and letters, you're welcome to do so. We're in the Revelation, and we're in chapter 2. So we've talked a little bit about what kind of document the Revelation is, that it is a series of visions that we believe, Christians believe, was given by God to Jesus when he was raised up to heaven, who in turn gave these same visions to John, whom many believe to be the same John that lived and walked with Jesus and wrote a whole history of his life and teachings. So he's presenting those visions to the different congregations. And we've talked about several already, including the Ephesian congregation, the Smyrna congregation, and we've been talking about the Thyatirian Christians at this point in our reading. So we're going to pick it up there and see what else Jesus has to say to these Christians, so that we can try to understand better the cultural context in which these things were said to the early Christians, as well as how we can apply them today. I should point out that later today, probably later today, or maybe tomorrow, but more than likely this evening, I'll probably put the notice up right after this show. I'm going to do a live stream, part 3, on Jesus and Michael as the biblical archangel. I'm going to do it as a live stream because, I get a lot of questions about Michael and Jesus and the issue of angels and archangels. And most of the comments and questions are really not on point and often ignore very basic biblical teachings. But I'm not doing the show for some of those comments. I have a couple other things that I want to address, and I just figured as part 3 I would do a live stream to give people an opportunity to raise questions if they have them. So look for that after this show. Later today I'm going to do a live stream, probably later this evening, like around 7 or 8, on part 3 of Jesus and Michael as the biblical archangel. We'll talk about things like, what does it mean to be one of the foremost princes? It's unbelievable how badly people misinterpret that description. And we'll talk about the authority that Jesus had at different points in his life, and how this relates to the authority that Michael is shown to have had at different times. So we'll be doing, if you haven't subscribed, you should do so that you get the notification. And then the notification will tell you right away. And it will also alert you when I go live. So then you can just go right to it. I haven't spent the lighting. It's kind of a problem early in the morning and then later in the evening. But it often works to my advantage because I prefer natural lighting over artificial lighting. So I'll put that notice up, and then you'll be able to see from there what's going on. But that should be a good show because I'm going to deal with those issues in more detail. And then any questions, this is your chance, okay? This is your opportunity if you have real serious objections to Jesus as Michael the Archangel, then all you have to do is attend the live stream later and post your questions. So let's get to the text. And I know there appears to be some issue with the live stream on YouTube. So if there's a problem with that, I'll go ahead and upload it later. But I'm going to continue with the show now so that we have the complete video. Okay, so starting in Revelation 2, I'm going to read verses 24 through 29, and then we'll make a brief application. We'll be on our way. Okay, verse 24, Revelation chapter 2. On the other hand, to those who remain, to those in Thyatira, to everyone who did not keep to or retain this teaching, the teaching of Balak and Balaam and the Nicolaitans of putting things, stumbling blocks before the Christians. But to those who did not come to know the thickets of Satan, as they say, I'm not placing another burden upon you. Verse 25, however, you must tightly grasp what you have for as long as it takes for me to arrive. Verse 26, the one who prevails, not just the one who believes, right? It's very clear that this involves an accomplishment, a completion, a tightly grasping until the end. Verse 26, the one who prevails and who closely guards my works until the end. To that person I will give authority over the earth's people. Verse 27, that person will take care of them with an iron staff, the way pots of clay are shattered. I guarantee you there'll be no toleration of sodomy at that point. Verse 28, even as I have received such authority from my Father. Jesus' authority comes from Jah. It's not something he's had eternally. He is given all his authority, just like every other spirit being is given authority by God, including the devil himself. He had all authority, so much that he even came to Jesus and told him that, and said he would give it to him if he worshiped him. And what did Jesus do? He quoted the text, right? And it's not like he could throw Satan out of his presence. He couldn't. Satan had authority. Jesus did not. Not to remove him from his presence. He had to deal with his tests. So it's strange to me how so many people who claim to believe in the Bible are totally ignorant when it comes to different authority given to different individuals under God. It's really, really weird. And then they'll argue all day long about how Jesus and Michael don't show the same authority, when Jesus and Michael don't have the same authority at every single time. That should be obvious. I mean, it's one of those things you look at and you think, okay, am I dealing with a normal person here? There's no way you could read the Bible and not comprehend different levels of authority, or that Jesus is given authority to do things and Michael has authority to do things at times and other times he does not. Right? It's obvious. He couldn't throw the devil out of his presence when he was disputing over Moses' body, but he threw the devil out of heaven and fought with him, which he did not do and probably could not do during the time of Moses' body. So we're going to get into all those things later on in our live stream, but I wanted to point that out since it's specific right here in the text. Jesus receives authority from the Father. Nobody gives Jah authority. Jesus receives his authority from the Father. That means he does not always have it. Jah always has authority. He is never without his authority. So it should be very obvious to any person with a working brain, Jesus is not Jah. He stands in place of Jah and acts as Jah to us because he's given authority to do so. It says right here. And that's why people who are faithful and follow Jesus are also given authority to do what? To shepherd the nations just like he is. To not tolerate all this disgusting behavior on the earth during a time when Jah is going to make the earth his footstool. So, don't forget this text. It's very important. Jesus receives authority from the Father. And it says, I will also give to that person the early morning light, or the morning star, just like Jesus is the morning star. They're angels, they're spirits, they're morning stars. The morning stars cried out joyfully. Job 38:7. Verse 29, the one possessing an ear must listen to what the Spirit says to the gatherings of Christians. So this is very important information for us because it shows clearly we don't want to get too involved in the deep things of Satan. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with more issues and things and potentially burdens that the Thyatiran weren't given because they didn't go to that extreme. What are we doing messing around within the thickets of Satan anyway? If you want to do that, fine. But Jesus is watching everything we do, and he's just going to hold you accountable for the extent to which you involve yourself with things that have nothing to do with him. Tightly grasp what you have. You got to hold on to it. You go running around to these different boards arguing with people about God's metaphysics, you lost your grip. There's no way you could have a tight hold on it. You're arguing over things you should be promoting as belief with people who don't believe them. So why would you spend your time with them? They seek us out to repeat the very same terrible arguments that we've already discussed. Now, why would you go seek them out? It's a total waste of time. If we focus on these things and we prevail until the end, verse 26, he that endures to the end is the one that will be saved. Matthew 24:12. It's all consistent. That person will be given authority over the earth's peoples. Okay, so it very clearly is talking about new heavens, new earth, right? The people who are with Jesus and have this authority are in the New Jerusalem or in the new heavens, and they're governing the earth's people. There are people on the earth during this time when they're being shepherded, just of course like the rest of Revelation describes, all the way to the point where the nations bring their glory into New Jerusalem. Just like we were originally meant to bring forth the glory of the earth to Jah directly. And now we'll do so through New Jerusalem until the kingdom is returned back to the Father, and he is all things to everyone once again. Just like Paul teaches in 1 Corinthians 15. So these are some good texts for us to keep in mind. Don't get too involved in the thickets of Satan. You're not going to benefit there, and you're just going to get behind. And Jah and Jesus will place a further burden on you because now you're more involved with things that don't involve them. Why would they make it easier for you when you're making it more difficult for yourself? See, you're just asking for them to give you something in response to your pursuit of what is opposing them. So try to keep that in mind. We have to be aware of things. We learn all the time. Don't go running around in the thickets of Satan. Grab onto what you have. Don't lose it. Don't go running around to these boards and throwing yourself into the middle of these arguments with Christians who are not Christians. They wouldn't be at these boards arguing with each other if they were. They're just trying to stop you because they don't believe. That's the only reason they do these things. Otherwise, they'd be too busy promoting belief, right? No one who really believes these things spends their whole time in ministry arguing about them. I'm sorry. Doesn't happen. So if we focus on what we're supposed to do and we tightly grab it, we guard Jesus' works until the end, then we will be given authority over the earth's people and we will shepherd them, not by tolerating sodomy and blasphemy. I mean, why are we allowing so many of these things to continue? I mean, we have become weak. There's so many people, they get offended just when I refer to people who commit sodomy in these ways and do these different things that are disgusting. Because they become so weak, they are tolerating it. They're tolerating that woman Jezebel and her disgusting immorality and false worship. Oh, we can all get along. Let's just be nice to each other. Okay, fine. I'll get along and I'll be nice and I won't tolerate error or false teaching. You can believe what you want. I'm not going to stop you. I don't go to your boards and ask you dumb questions all the time. I'm too busy promoting belief and the things that are on my mind. Not interested in Lucifer or all of this garbage entertainment of the world. Who cares what Lady Gaga thinks? Oh my goodness. Wow. How did we ever come to a point where she's even shown on TV like that? It's disgusting. Why are we listening to Hillary Clinton or anybody who follows her when she sacrifices chickens to Molech and gets involved with all these pedos? One of the sickest, most disgusting women on the planet. Tightly grab on to what you have. Let these people go. Once they start engaging you in retarded arguments or sick, disgusting immorality, right there you know, okay, waste of time. Move on. Find someone who cares, who really wants to do good and not argue with people all the time. So, I just wanted to point these things out because it's so easy for us, and even me. I mean, I planned on doing the Michael and Jesus part 3, but I get so many comments that are just, in my opinion, dumb. They show a lack of connection with the text. People will post things and say things, and they don't have any idea what they're talking about. They'll quote a text that's talking about angels, and then in their mind, that's the archangel. Excuse me, the archangel's the ruler of the angels. Hello? Hello? I mean, it's like, are you that dumb? You don't even understand the difference between an archangel and an angel? Oh, man. So, I mean, why do I even have to point that out, right? That should be obvious. Anyone with eyes to read can see the difference between an angel and an archangel. If you can't, there's nothing I can do for you. You're not going to see the difference, and so you're just going to think I believe Jesus is an angel, just some angel. So there's no point in talking to you anymore. You're not properly handling the text, and that's probably because you're not qualified to do so. But you do it anyway. So, and this is nothing to do, as every one of you has seen in my videos. I try to get along with pretty much everyone, right? You can even believe in the Trinity and work with us in the ministry. You just can't promote the Trinity as a teaching because it contradicts what we believe about one God the Father. Sorry. We get it. You have your own beliefs. But we're not trying to stop you. We just don't agree with you. And we respect a lot of different people who have different views, but not everyone, right? There's some people that come to this channel and they just act retarded. But not every Trinitarian does that. Not every homosexual acts retarded. Just some of them. I'm sure some of us act retarded too, but I'm talking about the ones I'm dealing with. So if you're a Trinitarian, that's, you know, I don't view you as someone I need to try to convert. You already confessed Jesus in a way that I believe you're responsible for. I already confessed Jesus as the Son of God in a way I'm responsible for. We shouldn't be trying to reach either one of us. We should be working together to reach people who have no faith in Jesus at all, and then let them decide if they want to believe in the Trinity or in one God the Father. But if we don't even get them to the point where we believe in the Christ, well, they're never going to be able to choose between the Trinity and the one God the Father. How about this? How about we work together to get non-Christians to believe in Jesus as the Christ based on all the pre-Christian evidence we have, and then once we succeed there, once we get the non-believer to believe in Jesus as the Christ, the fulfillment of the law of Moses and the prophets, then we'll talk about the Trinity and one God the Father. Can we do that? Let's set aside our differences for all non-Christians to help them become Christian, and then we'll deal with the afterward part. Then we'll let them know, okay, some people believe in the Trinity to deal with monotheism, and some people don't believe in the Trinity because they don't think you need it to deal with monotheism. Some people believe that Jesus' use of gods in John 10 shows that he's not a polytheist, but that others could be called gods in a way that doesn't compromise God's unique godship. And so we accept that. Or you could explain to them the Trinity and how they use it and let them decide. Okay, this is what I'm getting at. Can we get? We're blocking the most important part with our argument. We're keeping people who we're supposed to be reaching with the Christian message. We're preventing that by our internal arguments. I tell you what, man, it frustrates me because I really believe we could do more to reach more people if we stopped fighting with each other over these things. Okay, let me just see. We got some. I'm going to look at the questions now. I saw that there were some things. And I know the video kind of interrupted for a while on my end, and right now it's even paused. So if the video stream, someone tell me, did the video get interrupted significantly at all? Let me know at some point. So, okay, so there is a Sahih Luke. He's got several questions. So what I would suggest, you can, if you want to try to ask one right now, Sahih, you can. Don't fire off a bunch of questions though, because I'm about to wrap it up. And I'm going to do the live stream later. So you can prepare your questions, get them all set, get the details ready. And then once I start the live stream, I usually intro it, and then I'll make a couple points. I'll do this later today. I should be able to do it later today, no problem. And then you can really get your questions ready, okay? I want you to be prepared so we can have a good discussion, because I have a lot I want to say too that I don't think is getting enough attention. And I think it is part of the reason we have these ongoing problems. And so, let me just see here. So go to the topical index for videos on things like involving Jesus and gods. Sahih Luke, look at all the ones that have the word gods in quotes, gods, a god. You'll see. Some say Trinity directly in them, so you'll be able to tell. Some deal with the issues of being begotten or created. So just go through that. Let me know if you have questions. But I'm going to do the live stream later on Michael and Jesus as the biblical archangel. If you'd like to join me, have your questions ready, and we'll go over them all. We'll do the best I can to address everyone. I'm going to specifically deal with the description in Daniel of Michael as one of the foremost princes, as well as his different levels of authority over time. And then Zhu Jin, I know the blood issue. So this Sunday, I'm going to talk about blood. This Sunday's open session 7 is pretty much going to be all about the Watchtower, Bible, and blood. And then whatever questions you have. But I mean, that's going to be the whole show for up to 2 hours. So I hope that provides a good opportunity for us to deal with those issues. Okay, so I'll look at the video. If the video came out okay, it's still paused on my end. So I mean, it's been paused and it even went red for a long time. So, but it seems like you guys are seeing it okay. All right, so let me just recap. So we've gone over the reading. Hold on to what you have until Jesus arrives. Prevail. We have to prevail. We have to get the job done. Don't get involved in the thickets of Satan. If you hold on to what you have, we will receive authority over the earth's people to shepherd them and to restore it to Jah's glory in the new heavens and the new earth. Now let me just see here. Okay, so it looks like we're all set. We'll deal with the Michael and Jesus questions later in the live stream. Get them all set. I'll put the notice up here in the next hour or two. And then Sunday, open session 7. Blood, the Bible, and the Watchtower. Something like that. That way we'll be able to cover everything that usually is involved in those issues. So I think we covered pretty much everything. Let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, so people are going to ask the questions later. I wanted to be sure I didn't ignore a specific question, but it looks like people had some and they're going to hold them until later, which is good. Then you can get them all ready. I want you to have what's most concerning or important to you about this subject ready to go. If you can, by later. Contact other people. Find out from them. What's our best arguments? What do I want to bring up? It's not like this will be our last live show on Michael and Jesus as the Archangel, but this is our next one. So if you want to have an issue addressed, then take a couple hours and get yourself ready, and then later on today, let's talk. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I thank you for joining me for these day texts. And I hope that God blesses you in every way. In Jesus' name.